Federal agents and local detectives already know the dark secrets buried deep inside this case. Without her daily medication, her chances of surviving this amount of time are virtually zero, leaving us deeply alarmed. Federal contacts confided in me personally, admitting they were completely baffled by the ongoing chaotic situation. The sheriff is hoarding critical evidence, and his disastrous leadership has become a genuinely massive distraction, which completely stole the public spotlight right when our absolute focus should have remained entirely on locating Savannah's missing mother. This gripping mystery commands our full focus, and our broadcast today unpacks several massive developments. We finally have the second half of Savannah's exclusive interview, bringing several intense revelations that we absolutely must analyze. We also have a profoundly compelling conversation featuring a highly respected expert, Dr. Richard Carmona. Insiders relentlessly insisted we interview him. Dr. Carmona actually spent dozens of years operating as a local sheriff's deputy and a tactical assault team leader. He is also a medical doctor and a former United States Surgeon General who resides locally and knows the key figures intimately, and offers a completely unique viewpoint regarding the intense hunt for Nancy Guthrie, delivering a rare, behind closed doors look at the sheriff and his handling of this entire operation. Fresh reports also suggest the local sheriff is still actively refusing to share crucial intelligence with federal authorities. This exact roadblock emerged during the earliest days of the search, and clearly remains a massive hurdle today. Before we dive into the forensic clues, we need to examine a truly heartbreaking moment from Savannah's latest sit-down. 56 days into this nightmare without any answers, her enduring resilience and absolute grace remain truly astonishing. She explained how holding on to her spiritual beliefs helped her survive this trauma and maintain a profound connection with her missing mother. Recalling a deep conversation with one of Nancy's dearest friends who asked, "How did you protect your spiritual beliefs after the devastating loss of your husband and every tragedy you survived?" Nancy replied with a simple yet powerful thought, "Where else could I possibly turn?" Savannah clings tightly to that sentiment. That unshakable devotion keeps their bond alive, as she believes praying allows her to hold her mother's hand, fiercely vowing never to let sorrow triumph. "She taught me everything. I watched her deeply mourn her entirely shattered universe. I witnessed the absolute devastation firsthand. Yet I also watched her rise again with fierce conviction, boundless affection, renewed optimism, radiant smiles, contagious laughter, and an unbreakable sense of pure, unapologetic joy. I observed her profound passion for life and exploration. She mentored me and inspired everyone around her. I might not match her incredible grace, but I will absolutely push forward. I'm staying strong for my children. I refuse to crumble. I will never allow the monster behind this to steal another mother away from her innocent kids. I refuse to let them steal my happiness." She was directly referencing her mother's incredible resilience following the tragic death of her beloved spouse. Her father passed away when they were kids, leaving Nancy to successfully raise the entire family alone. This whole nightmare is incredibly hard to digest. A beloved woman vanished entirely, and 56 agonizing days later, clues remain non-existent. That agonizing suspense is exactly why this horrifying mystery remains impossible to ignore. It forces us to reflect on our own families. And listening to her channel, her missing mother's fierce emotional fortitude is genuinely heartbreaking to witness. She also discussed the crushing agony of uncertainty, fully aware that somebody out there possesses the exact knowledge needed to make one phone call and blow this investigation completely open. Her ultimate prayer is that a brave witness will step forward and expose the truth. A former federal investigator tracking these developments intimately echoed that exact same powerful sentiment during a recent briefing, stressing that if a $1 million bounty hasn't convinced anyone to talk, options are bleak. Though perhaps the raw agony in a grieving daughter's voice might finally trigger a confession, she recently confirmed her upcoming return to the morning broadcast desk on the 6th of April. We pray the authorities uncover solid answers before that date arrives. Let us pivot now to the incredibly revealing dialogue with Dr. Carmona. He dedicated countless years patrolling as a local county deputy, possesses a medical degree, and formerly held the prestigious title of United States Surgeon General, marking a phenomenal legacy. He brings a fascinating viewpoint regarding the ongoing search for the missing mother. specifically critiquing the local precinct and their highly questionable management of the crime scene. Community outrage is boiling over as citizens aggressively slam the local sheriff for his perceived incompetence throughout this entire missing persons inquiry. Furious locals have launched a massive recall campaign, demanding an immediate emergency vote to forcibly strip his current command. Outside of this immediate disaster, separate controversies suggest he actively buried severe disciplinary records from his past Texas employment, including explosive accusations of committing blatant perjury. Dr. Carmona is boldly stepping into this political crossfire. A highly respected veteran deeply entrenched within both the policing and medical communities. Starting from absolute scratch as a teenage dropout, he earned his diploma while serving proudly overseas before launching a decorated career inside the United States military. He later devoted roughly 34 years to local law enforcement, acting as a tactical unit commander before pivoting to medicine and ascending to the prestigious rank of United States Surgeon General. A badge, a scalpel. Dr. Carmona's past is absolutely wild. While policing the streets for decades, he simultaneously tackled medical school, refusing to surrender his badge even after earning his official medical license. The Senate eventually handed him a unanimous confirmation as the nation's top doctor, a post he accepted while still juggling his police duties. He frequently points out how this rare expertise perfectly prepared him for the Surgeon General gig. It is a massive job heavily focused on safeguarding the physical well-being and national security of America, demanding seamless teamwork with federal and local responders whenever massive threats endangered the country. Over 34 years serving alongside deputies at the Pima County Sheriff's Department, he gained deep insight into their daily operations and their handling of Nancy Guthrie's vanishing. A mystery that opened on the 1st of February and remains completely unsolved almost 2 full months later. As 60 agonizing days slip by without a single solid clue, the public wonders if this investigation is freezing over, or if detectives are actually inching toward a massive, hidden revelation behind the scenes. Insiders who thoroughly understand local precinct politics and the standard trajectory of missing persons cases readily admit things are looking incredibly grim today. Dr. Carmona, thanks to his 34-year tenure in high-stakes tactical deployments, is widely considered the absolute best person to analyze the current reality of this terrifying probe. Experts continually point to his sharp analysis as the crucial puzzle piece needed to fully grasp what is happening with this investigation. Given the agonizingly long timeline, individuals closely tied to the search party are fearing the absolute worst regarding Nancy's overall safety. Because she is a senior citizen desperately needing daily prescriptions to survive chronic ailments, officials and physicians alike agree that her chances of enduring this nightmare without a dedicated caretaker are exceptionally bleak at this critical stage. Complicating the emotional toll of the tragedy is Savannah's profound, lifelong connection to the city of Tucson itself. Neighbors who proudly supported her rise to television stardom feel an intense, personal heartbreak over this unfolding local nightmare. To make a devastating scenario infinitely worse, whistleblowers claim the entire search effort is being severely hampered by the sitting sheriff's highly questionable and controversial investigative choices. Savannah recently gave a revealing interview, dropping shocking new clues about the dark night her mother vanished into thin air. Investigators arrived to find the rear patio doors wedged completely wide open. The victim was allegedly snatched barefoot in her sleepwear, leaving her mobile device, cash, and identification totally untouched in the living room. Detectives analyzing the cold facts keep returning to one agonizing question: what was the true motive? Veteran profilers argue that identifying the core psychological reason behind the attack, especially against a vulnerable senior, triggers an exhaustive background check into her entire social circle, forcing authorities to intensely scrutinize relatives, acquaintances, and next-door neighbors alongside hours of local security camera feeds. We must remember that foul play is not always the culprit when a senior vanishes. Dispatchers frequently track down seniors who stray from home because of sudden confusion or severe dementia, or even bad pill reactions. And, thankfully, those folks usually end up safely back in their beds or a local clinic. Nancy's tragedy remains incredibly frustrating because the scattered evidence stubbornly refuses to paint a cohesive picture of what actually occurred. Those wide-open patio entryways could easily scream forced home invasion to a rookie cop, or simply highlight a forgetful grandmother's mistake. though veteran detectives deeply familiar with these specific manhunts insist discovering the true underlying reason for the crime remains the absolute best method for narrowing down the suspect list effectively. Seasoned investigators constantly warn against making reckless assumptions when innocent lives are hanging in the balance. Every single forensic trace must undergo brutal scientific scrutiny, making a pristine crime scene vital, since one contaminated fingerprint today can easily ruin an entire criminal prosecution tomorrow. Precinct insiders readily admit that the local task force is packed with battle-tested veterans who know exactly how to untangle messy, high-profile felonies. Federal authorities backing up the local squad are universally praised as absolutely elite, highly competent operatives. The real nightmare here, whispers suggest, is the absolute circus swirling around the top brass and their highly criticized leadership. These internal political scandals are stealing the spotlight right when every ounce of manpower should be strictly dedicated to bringing Nancy home. Red flags were flying from day one, and now a massive scandal is officially blowing up. Grievances regarding the top brass ignited instantly, and it is horrifying how this drama still dominates. Insiders openly admit that the core mission itself has turned into an absolute nightmare. Touching down in Tucson, our crew quickly discovered a community completely fed up with their leading officer. Finding the missing woman originally commanded everyone's absolute attention. Yet the chief's glaring missteps hijacked the spotlight. Once feds confessed, they were utterly sidelined, exposing a massive, toxic rift splitting local deputies and national detectives apart. Strikingly, this toxic atmosphere was brewing long before this specific tragedy struck. Insiders intimately familiar with the region's policing landscape painted a very grim picture. Nanos routinely alienates the vast network of state, local, and national entities patrolling these exact borders. Most departments actively dodge any unnecessary contact with the man entirely. Whistleblowers constantly describe an explosive boss who wields pure fear instead of offering genuine guidance, breeding chaos over teamwork, a reality that erupted violently when seasoned federal agents stepped in, verifying that partnering with the county department felt like pulling teeth constantly. A truly shocking revelation centers around physical clues being diverted away from elite federal teams, who provide premier, state-of-the-art forensic analysis completely free of charge to their partners. Instead, local commanders allegedly shipped materials off to a commercial Florida facility to save a buck. Veteran cops scoffed loudly at such an absurd financial excuse. Down in the Southwest desert, fluid teamwork is practically the golden rule among squads. Various national alphabet agencies and municipal units constantly swap crucial intel, manpower, and strategic assets, pooling cutting-edge gadgets to build bulletproof cases while acting entirely as one unified shield, creating unstoppable momentum. Yet that synergy completely vanished in this particular mess. Local badge wearers reacted with an incredibly revealing level of pure exhaustion. Most insiders just rolled their eyes, muttering that typical Nanos behavior surprises absolutely no one. The real terror isn't merely his bad attitude, but the catastrophic toll it exacts on the actual hunt. Each scandalous headline born of his incompetence steals oxygen from the sole priority at hand, uncovering Nancy Guthrie's ultimate fate and delivering justice to her grieving loved ones. Experts carefully weigh whether this erratic leadership actively torpedoed the search for the missing woman. Though operatives avoid direct accusations, a unanimous choir agrees this collateral fallout feels incredibly destructive overall. All this sideshow drama creates an unforgivable barrier. Whenever journalists inevitably pivot toward analyzing the chief's chaotic daily press briefings, his bureaucratic turf wars and spectacular blunders hijack the exact momentum needed to solve crimes. The actual boots on the dirt represent highly capable and fiercely committed crime fighters. However, a rotting head breeds endless static, turning every simple task into a total nightmare. Regarding any mended fences between local brass and the feds after 2 grueling months of searching, informants strongly advise maintaining a very heavy dose of doubt. Armed with unparalleled technical wizardry and endless funds, federal agents definitely possess the muscle to navigate tricky egos, yet genuine teamwork still feels like an elusive, fading dream here. Feds reportedly played nicely, extending every olive branch and premium tool imaginable despite facing constant local rejection. Bystanders watching this unfold continue sweating bullets over the chief's wildly unprofessional ongoing tactics. Merely wondering if these allied forces can stomach each other loudly broadcast the underlying catastrophe. Citizens rightfully expect a flawlessly united front of experts cracking this mystery wide open together. Instead, furious taxpayers and peer officers alike aggressively question the actual sanity of the commanding figurehead. A massive turning point arrived when national tech wizards finally flexed their undeniable digital muscle. They successfully partnered with massive search engines to salvage crucial video, the stubborn local boss deemed lost forever. Let's cut right to the chase here. Why on earth would anyone refuse the total backing of the FBI? Solving this mystery together would still make him look like an absolute hero, right? Insiders admit his bizarre tactics leave everyone totally baffled and scratching their heads in disbelief. Almost 70 federal agents stepped up to lend a hand with this massive probe. These operatives boast elite skills, wielding cutting-edge forensics and world-class tech few departments ever see. Choosing to ignore that unbelievable arsenal is undeniably a catastrophic and foolish blunder. Folks who actually know the ropes claim citizens deserve to witness a totally different scenario unfold right now. They expect a united front joint press briefings hosted by the sheriff and top detectives. Officials from all partnering bureaus must show everyone they are running a seamless operation fueled by shared, diverse intelligence. Instead, we get a lone wolf who seemingly cares far more about hogging the spotlight than engaging in genuine teamwork. His chaotic press updates just breed more chaos. Conflicting remarks keep dropping, making citizens constantly doubt the fundamental facts of the case. A glaring issue everyone keeps highlighting is that critical January 11th timestamp. Our network spent weeks flagging this exact moment as a massive turning point in the overall investigation timeline. That January 11th detail perfectly highlights the absolute mess of communication plaguing this entire manhunt. Federal insiders confidently tipped us off early that a crucial front-facing camera snapshot captured on that day held absolutely tremendous evidentiary value. However, the boss stubbornly shot it down, brushing those reports off as pure fiction. He suddenly backpedaled later, finally admitting that the specific time frame actually mattered a great deal. Veteran officers will easily tell you that flipping the script like that causes severe, lasting damage to any serious probe. Community faith relies entirely on straight talk. Having a commander constantly backtrack on his own words utterly destroys any remaining goodwill. This exact frustrating cycle keeps repeating throughout the entire ordeal. Shipping critical clues to a private Florida facility to supposedly save cash completely bypasses the clear reality that federal labs offer premium forensic testing absolutely free of charge. Insiders say each specific misstep hurts. It proves he either lacks fundamental skills or simply chokes under fire. Regardless of the reason, the bitter outcome never changes. We see a commander forced to swallow his own words, day in and day out. He ruthlessly tanks his own reputation while shattering community faith in the case. Over time, these piled-up errors have spawned a massive crisis. Citizens are practically begging to know if anyone is actually managing this case correctly. They wonder why massive federal assets sit idle. And if the right crew is really running the show? Severe backlash exploded when national television broadcasts openly caught the commander and his top deputy casually kicking back at a major basketball game like absolutely nothing was wrong. Federal operatives grinding away during the absolute climax of the manhunt definitely saw that stunt happen. The reaction from the boots on the ground was brutal. Catch the game on your own couch. Not here. You simply cannot chill in a packed arena on live broadcast while countless local and federal troops desperately pour everything into the biggest missing persons mystery this entire country has witnessed. By any reasonable measure, the optics were absolutely devastating. Anyone tracking his management tactics over the past decade won't find this toxic cycle surprising at all. Colleagues who crossed paths with the guy back in his early rookie days recall him being barely passable. He pushed papers fine, but nobody ever labeled him a visionary or trusted him with major duties. The general vibe, according to one blunt insider, was that he passed muster. But zero people considered him a trailblazer for tomorrow. Former co-workers paint a picture of a guy who clocked in, did the bare minimum, and coasted. His climb to the top job totally blindsided folks. especially considering the endless rumors regarding his sheer incompetence. Since it is an elected role, voters ultimately decided. Insiders hint citizens completely misunderstood the hardcore skills required for the gig. We now know that high-ranking elite power players got heavily involved. This includes seasoned politicians and elite police commanders alike. They quietly pulled the boss aside to demand an immediate pivot, bluntly warning him that total disaster loomed unless he rapidly got his act together. Those interventions completely flopped. Close contacts brand the man as stubbornly hostile toward any form of outside advice whatsoever. He doubles down instead of adapting, and as close allies bitterly note, he just keeps excavating his own grave. Friends who know his true colors chalk it all up to one singular, fatal flaw: ego. Making matters way worse are fresh rumors stemming from his shady transfer out of Texas into his Arizona gig. He lied through his teeth about why he really left, hiding a trail of massive disasters from his old precinct. These shocking claims are now fueling intense doubts regarding his actual qualifications for this top job. Insiders close to the chaos suggest Sheriff Nanos was actually facing imminent termination. Down in El Paso, his former agency reportedly flagged him for severe misconduct during his time on the force. Current Puma County peers admit outright that knowing this dark past would have instantly disqualified his original job application. This completely shatters any faith in their vetting protocols, considering the El Paso files reveal numerous forced leaves. You also have an active lawsuit and gross misconduct charges. Red flags that any basic police background check should easily catch. This screening exists entirely to ensure recruits are completely honest long before they ever step foot inside an academy, much less being handed the keys to command everyone. We still wonder if investigators actually did their jobs. It remains a total mystery if vital files were missing or if someone outright lied to them. Yet the burning question for experts is chillingly simple: how does a guy with El Paso baggage slide right through Puma County's radar? That single, glaring question. Insiders claim this mystery sparked a brand new probe into his shady past, completely destroying whatever credibility he had left right when the local community already despises his absolutely failing leadership. The absolute worst allegation coming to light implies this sheriff lied. While sitting directly under oath, they questioned him about past suspensions. He flatly denied it, but sources refused to excuse him, considering his file holds 8 official suspensions. Come on, one of those bans lasted 2 solid weeks, which is impossible for anyone to just casually forget. People analyzing the evidence say there is only one logical way to view this. He clearly committed fraud on his original application for the Puma County Sheriff's job. We still cannot confirm if the vetting team dug deep, skimmed the paperwork, or blindly trusted his very flawed word. Yet insiders stress that this massive scandal goes way beyond simple administrative oversights. No matter the timeline, intentionally hiding your dirty laundry to secure a badge shows a complete lack of basic morals. Slipping into a precinct by covering up past offenses totally destroys the crucial bond of community trust that keeps cops functioning. Experts warn that society is watching this exact destruction of faith happen live right in front of them. Former colleagues who stood beside Sheriff Nanos repeatedly call his overall performance completely mediocre on his absolute best days. He was never seen as a reliable boss or given heavy duties. One guy literally called him just another uniform on patrol. The biggest fear right now, his toxic record slipped by, because finding it would have instantly killed his chances of ever getting the badge. Modern vetting protocols are incredibly strict, meaning no transferred officer could ever dodge a deeply exhaustive criminal background sweep today. Now, everyone is wondering what happens next in the Nancy Guthrie mystery. Seasoned detectives strongly warn the public not to write this off as a cold case, since the hunt is definitely still ablaze. Investigators continue grinding away to uncover a motive and reconstruct the exact timeline of events. Authorities say all this heavy digging points toward 2 possible outcomes. If she simply got lost during a medical emergency or bad drug reaction, searchers will eventually recover her physical remains. Finding a body brings tragic closure, but a kidnapping scenario leaves us with a huge missing puzzle piece. Why haven't the captors asked for ransom money or tried communicating in any way whatsoever? Insiders call this dead silence the absolute weirdest part of the whole tragedy, which is exactly why the task force keeps the files wide open and running hot. Critics strongly argue that constantly debating the chief's ability to lead is justified but dangerous. It extracts a heavy toll by stealing the spotlight from our one true mission, bringing Nancy Guthrie home safely. The scandal absolutely ruins the community faith in the man running the show, rather than the badge itself. Relentless news coverage plays a crucial role here, applying heavy pressure so nobody dares sweep this missing woman under the rug. Informants claim a specific clue finally helped investigators focus their massive search grid. It was her daughter Savannah, confirming the victim's frail health, noting she struggled just walking to the front yard. Suggesting she casually strolled away into the woods and vanished for 56 days is completely impossible for any sane person to believe. There is zero chance a frail senior simply vanished into thin air, completely unaided. This glaring fact highlights the most baffling blunder of the entire case, Sheriff Nanos declaring on live television that the active search grid was no longer restricted. Releasing that restricted area too quickly remains the absolute worst call made during the initial probe. A catastrophic decision, one that veteran cops agree the top brass had absolutely no business making themselves. The primary investigator on site is the sole person authorized to clear an area, and only after ensuring every single clue is safely bagged and tagged. The sheer incompetence displayed afterward is mind-boggling. Seasoned experts were utterly horrified by viral rumors claiming a food courier casually strolled right through the active investigation zone. Any legitimately locked down location strictly mandates a written registry. You must clock everyone coming and going to protect the physical proof, which serves a crucial purpose far beyond basic red tape. Trial lawyers will ruthlessly suppress any forensic materials pulled from a contaminated site. Letting random strangers trample the area destroys the custodial record, instantly turning vital clues into worthless garbage. The commander caught intense heat for bizarrely claiming they could somehow recreate the site later. Former officers are completely united in rejecting that absurd notion. You simply cannot piece a tainted location back together. Forensic purity is either guarded fiercely from day one or lost forever. The fact that the highest-ranking officer issued these reckless orders remains, in the eyes of dedicated case watchers, the single most disturbing red flag of this entirely botched operation. The most jaw-dropping moment occurred when the chief publicly whined about not being accustomed to people scrutinizing his comments. Fellow cops cringed hearing that excuse, knowing answering to citizens is the bedrock of trust. The desperate push for answers stems from pure, heartbreaking empathy. Finding out your own mother was abducted would break anyone's spirit. Yet Savannah's relatives endure this exact nightmare non-stop. People are still desperately praying that Nancy is somehow all right out there. But her severe health issues make the outlook incredibly grim. Another major investigative flaw recently surfaced. Pictures clearly showed crimson stains lingering right on the patio after the tape came down. Federal agents eventually locked everything back down tight. Who greenlit the reckless rollback? That initial terrible judgment call is still the biggest mystery haunting the entire inquiry, given the local municipal boundaries. The regional precinct holds ultimate authority while feds just offer backup, meaning it isn't officially a national matter. Following standard hierarchy, a primary plainclothes officer is appointed to steer the entire probe. Junior sleuths tackle the grunt work, knocking on doors, grilling neighbors, and hunting down tapes, meticulously logging every single person who crossed that threshold during the critical window. Every shred of data filters up to the main inspector, who then briefs the upper brass all the way to the top boss. That primary field detective, definitely not the top sheriff, is the absolute sole authority on dropping the tape. Routine procedures demand casting an aggressively wide net early on, since clues often hide in bizarre spots. Anybody crossing the boundary must wear full protective gear to stop accidental tampering. The barricades are only lifted when the head cop is absolutely certain they have squeezed every single ounce of data from the site. That call, expert stress, falls squarely on the case manager's shoulders, rather than some politician giving a press conference. Lifting the lockdown is unequivocally a field inspector's duty, never the superintendent's job. The commanding executive isn't digging through the dirt or analyzing blood spatter, making them utterly unqualified to judge. The rulebook never changes regardless of the agency. Snap the pictures, secure the items, and record everything. An unbroken paper trail is the only way a jury buys the proof. Breaking that link ruins it forever. Grizzled veterans swear they have never witnessed a top brass official go on air to personally tear down yellow tape. The power lies solely with the primary sleuth. period. Yet the commander completely outed himself during a broadcast, openly bragging about tearing down the perimeter, a shocking admission that had seasoned forensics experts face-palming in utter disbelief. What the public desperately needed to hear was that the boots-on-the-ground investigator, securing every single shred of evidence before releasing a crime scene, is the bare minimum. That is standard operating procedure. Dr. Carmona provided absolutely critical context regarding the massive investigative blunders and serious upper management issues plaguing this entire investigation. His blunt assessment perfectly captures the growing frustration echoing throughout the Tucson area lately. Locals are lying awake, terrified every single night, fully aware that the person behind NY's vanishing remains on the loose. We are now exactly 56 days into Nancy Guthrie's terrifying disappearance. Yet the desperate search for the truth burns hotter than ever. Detectives are chasing fresh leads, cultivating untouched sources, and refusing to let this investigation turn cold. NCC News keeps tracking all verified updates and vital forensic breakthroughs. We truly appreciate you tuning into our broadcast today. This has been NCC News, hosted by Jim Parker. Remain vigilant, keep yourselves educated, and never stop demanding the truth. This story is not just about a missing person, it's about responsibility, truth, and the cost of failure when leadership breaks down. In moments of crisis, every second matters. Every decision carries weight, and every voice deserves to be heard. Yet what we see here is how ego, poor communication, and lack of transparency can quietly sabotage even the most urgent mission. When those in power choose control over collaboration, the truth becomes harder to find and lives hang in the balance. But beyond the system, there is something deeply human at the center of this tragedy. Love, a daughter refusing to give up, a family holding on to faith in the face of unbearable uncertainty. That kind of strength reminds us what truly matters. The lesson is clear: accountability is not optional. Leadership must be earned through integrity, not authority. And as individuals, we must stay aware, ask questions, and never ignore what feels wrong. Because justice does not only depend on investigators, it depends on all of us. Sometimes, the smallest voice, the quietest observation, or the courage to speak up can be the one thing that changes everything.